They are the most powerful institutions you were never taught to question. They don't make headlines, they don't face elections, and most people can't explain what they actually do. I'm talking about central banks. They control the price of your money, the fate of your economy, and the value of everything you've ever worked for. They can create wealth from thin error, erase it overnight. And the strangest part, they don't answer to you. This is the hidden story of how central banks came to rule modern finance, not as neutral referees, but as active players in a game they invented. It's a story of secret power, financial engineering, and the illusion of stability. And once you understand how it started, you'll never see your paycheck, your debt, or your savings the same way again. Let's go back to 1694. England was broke after a long, expensive war. So, a group of wealthy merchants made a deal with the government. We'll lend you £1.2 million, and in exchange, you give us the right to form a bank. This bank would have the exclusive power to issue paper money backed by that government debt. Just like that, the Bank of England was born. It wasn't a bank for citizens. It existed to fund the government and profit from it. This was the blueprint for the modern central bank. Fast forward to the United States. Americans were deeply suspicious of centralized financial power. Early attempts at a central bank were shut down over fears of corruption and elitism. For much of the 19th century, the U.S. had no central bank, and its financial system was a chaotic mess of panics and crashes. But after the panic of 1907, a crisis so severe that the private financier J.P. Morgan had to personally organize a bailout, the pressure for a change was immense. In 1913, Congress created the Federal Reserve. It was sold to the public as a decentralized network that would stabilize the economy, but in reality, it became a central authority with immense power over interest rates and the money supply. And here's where things get murky. The Fed isn't a government agency. It's a strange hybrid. Its leaders are appointed by the president, but its member banks are privately owned. It's funded by interests on government debt, not by your taxes. It operates in the shadows, making decisions that affect millions, with no real voter input. So who does it really serve? The official story is that the Fed works for maximum employment and stable prices, but its actions often seem to benefit the very institutions it's meant to regulate. Think about the 2008 financial crisis. The Fed didn't just cut rates, it printed trillions of dollars, bailed out massive investment banks, and propped up the price of toxic assets. Then, in 2020, it did it all over again, buying corporate bonds and pumping liquidity into markets, which inflated asset bubbles that made the rich richer, while everyone else was told to wait for the benefits to trickle down. This is the hidden truth. Central banks don't just manage the economy. They shape Italiano. They pick winners and losers. When they print money, those who own assets like stocks and real estate get wealthy. When they raise interest rates, the working class pays more for mortgages, credit cards, and car loans. Their leaders often move back and forth between jobs at Wall Street banks and the central bank itself. Their language is intentionally complex, wrapped in technical jargon to keep the public in the dark. Today, we live in a world where central banks are more powerful and less accountable than ever. Since 2008, they've transformed the economy. Zero interest rates became normal. Printing trillions of dollars to buy government and corporate debt, a policy called quantitative easing, became routine. What was the result? Asset prices soared. Stocks, real estate, you name it. For asset owners, it was a golden age. For everyone else, it was inflation disguised as prosperity. Housing became unaffordable. The stock market disconnected from wages. The cost of living went up while your savings account earned nothing. The modern financial system is designed to keep you in motion, not to set you free. It rewards debt and punishes saving, and it's all framed as stability. But it's not your stability they're protecting. When things break, the central bank steps in to save the system. Not the people, the system. The banks, the asset holders, the machine. So what can you do? Start by seeing clearly. Central banks are not gods. They are players in a game, and their tools are not designed with your freedom in mind. You can't fight this system directly, but you can position yourself outside of its immediate reach. Diversify your assets. Simplify your life. Reduce your debt. Own things that have real, tangible value. Most importantly, learn how money really works and question the official stories you're told. Because when the next crisis comes handed, the central banks will do what they always do. Protect the system. It's up to you to protect yourself. History has the answers. If this gave you a new perspective, hit that subscribe button, and I'll show you where to look.